When you have mild hair fall, which means you are losing 100 to 150 strands of hair, it's absolutely normal.
Good skin and good hair is either something you're blessed with or you can never have it.
It's definitely possible to manage these conditions even if you have a genetic disposition of these problems.
Right.
Very, very little role of external products to play when it comes to your skin and hair. It's
Right.
always something to do with what's going inside your body. The genuine hair fall, which continues for a longer period of time, which eventually makes your ponytail go half, right, is a medical condition not very different from diabetes. So my husband went through a severe hair loss condition all his life. He has genetic hair losses. We tried something very interesting, which is Ayurvedic principles on food science. During this journey, his hair regrew. There's no one product that can magically solve, sirf tel laga lo, ya sirf ek nutrition gummies kha lo. It's not going to happen. It is a holistic way of fixing this problem that works the best. But medical doctors are actually not trained in supplementation.
Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now. Whether it's the widening parting on your head or it is about seeing those clumps of hair that fall into the shower each time you wash your hair, or it is about just losing that luster that you've always had as someone growing up. And just seeing that can be very, very disheartening as a woman, and especially postpartum. Today, we're chatting with someone who's dedicated her life to not only fixing this from the outside, but correcting it from the inside. Today, we're chatting with Saloni, who co-founded Traya and is also a mum to two kids. One's 4.5 and one is 5 months old. And of course, she's here with us today because she's the one who's going to help us understand claims, products, do external applications really, really work? Can I get beautiful hair without fixing the inside? And is everything that you see really hair care routines and 7-step and 9-step and morning and night and all of that possible if you're not actually focusing on the right things? Thank you, Saloni. Thank you for being with us today. And I'm really excited about this conversation.
Me too. I'm so happy to be here.
I have this belief, and correct me if I'm wrong, that good skin and good hair is either something you're blessed with or you can never have it.
Genetics plays a big role, I agree. But I think the second part that you cannot have is absolutely wrong. There's a lot we can do about it. And let me put it this way, right? Today, even something as big as diabetes is something that people manage, almost bring to reversal, and live their life with. Almost like any other individual. So we've learned how to manage a problem like diabetes. Why can't we learn to manage problems like hair fall or acne?
Right.
I think it's definitely possible to manage these conditions, even if you have a genetic disposition of these problems.
Right. I'm going to be very honest. I am not much of a believer today when I see things on Instagram to say that this is going to fix a problem. I think we've all got this trust fatigue. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this chat with you, because I believe, and I was reading this brilliant New York Times article which said about beauty fatigue on reels, right? Like we buy these 200, 300 products, trusting that it fixes someone else and it'll fix us too. And we just don't know as women when we go deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole of buying to assume it is better self-care versus actually addressing the problem. Do you feel beauty and hair care and skincare has become more of a self-care versus actually fixing the problem?
Absolutely. If you look at the industry, and I think because of social media, etc., is now on our face, but even 20, 30 years ago when there was just television, right, all we've been sold for skin and hair are external products. And if you really understand the science, there's very little role of external products to play when it comes to your skin and hair. It's
Right.
always something to do with what's going inside your body. And the moment you reach a doctor, you meet a dermatologist, they will also tell you that, hey, eat healthy. But is there a single brand out there that actually gives you a diet or a meal plan to solve your acne or to solve your hair fall? This was the very, very reason, Mansi, that I started Traya. I myself went through that journey of trust deficit. Few things in my personal life led me to get into the research. My husband is a biomedical, from his educational background. So he researches for life. So we got into research and we realized that, oh my God, the hair science is exactly, in fact, completely opposite to what the hair industry is throwing at us.
Explain that to me.
So, for example, if you really understand hair fall as a problem, it has nothing or very little to do with what you apply, even what water you use. And a lot of you will be surprised to hear that water has very little role to play. There will be some temporary hair fall that should stop within 10-15 days. The genuine hair fall, which continues for a longer period of time, which eventually makes your ponytail go half, right, is a medical condition not very different from diabetes, which means your hormones, your stress levels, the thyroid in the body, the PCOS in the body, your metabolism, your digestion, your gut health, the nutrition in your body is what is impacting your hair health,
Right.
especially a condition like hair fall.
Right.
When you see that, and on the other end, you see the entire industry throwing you shampoos and serums and conditioners with, promises, oils. And even if you look at the promises are, hey, 1 week hair fall reduction, 4 washes hair fall reduction, 20 days, whatever. And if you just go to a fundamental medical science book, the hair anatomy, the way the God has made our body is such that your hair cycle takes 3 months to move from one stage to other, which means there can be no magical product on planet Earth that can solve your hair problem less than 3 to 4. Yeah. So you need to use it for that period of time. So there itself, so if every piece that, I read up and I researched and I met doctors, I realized that how fluff this space is. And hence, all of us sort of use these products, eventually realize nothing is happening. We kind of give up. And then we call it self-care because at least, kuch kar to rahe hain.
Correct.
Khali nahi baithe hai, right? You feel in control when you are putting a pack on your hair and you feel you're doing something about it. But I wish people put that effort and energy in the right place.
Right. So tell me all about co-founding Traya. What was that inflection point? What made you say that I have to do this? And how did you guys go about starting it?
So my husband went through a severe hair loss condition all his life. He has genetic hair loss, which is balding, and he had a visible scalp. He was doing everything that one could, went to the best dermats, used minoxidil for years, PRP, multiple sessions. Unfortunately or fortunately, he got a very severe hypothyroid situation. And which was not just coming under control. So we went to multiple endocrinologists. His Thyronorm dosage was at the top. And that's when he realized that he needs to take a break in life and focus on his health because he was 25 kgs overweight, balding at a very fast pace, hypothyroidism off the roof. One thing led to other, and he started researching on his thyroid. So the core research was for thyroid. Eventually, we sort of, serendipity that hair fall happened, but it was originally thyroid. We were pushed to try things beyond allopathy because there's very little that allopathy offers. And we tried homeopathy, we tried Ayurveda, we tried naturopathy. We tried something very interesting, which is Ayurvedic principles on food science, which is how do you change your diet to really control your thyroid. We met a lot of doctors, some of the best doctors in this country, and eventually with mixing Ayurveda with his allopathy, like using both, he was able to bring his hypothyroid almost to a reversible state. So he went from a 125 microgram dosage to a 25. During this journey, his hair regrew. And we were shocked because he was using everything possible and his hair never regrew the way it did now in these 6 months. So we went back to our Ayurveda doctor and he said, I'm not surprised because in Ayurveda, hair loss is not a disease. It's actually a communication to you, to your body, that something inside is wrong. So your hair loss was shouting at you that you need to fix your gut, metabolism, thyroid, etc. in your body. And now that we've fixed it through your diet and herbs and whatever you are taking in allopathy, your hair has to regrow. And we went back to our lives. I was working, doing a job back then. Almost 2 years later, we decided to do something in the chronic health space. And we said, can we really make Ayurveda, allopathy, and food science compatible to treat a lifestyle disease like thyroid, like PCOS, like infertility, like hair fall? And you see how I'm using all of these in the same sentence because they are scientifically not very different. They are all autoimmune conditions. We did the research and somehow hair fall was the destiny. So we picked hair fall. 5 years later, we're still just focusing on hair fall. But that's the core from where Traya was born.
Right.
I think there's nothing out there, not a single clinic where the 3 doctors sit on one table and talk to each other.
Right.
And we tried changing that with Traya.
I am so happy that you say that because I am a very firm believer in Ayurveda. I really believe that we have so much of ancient wisdom that when combined into, and I really call the kitchen as the medicine box,
Absolutely.
right? Because everything that we want or we need is right there, right? And I don't think that there's anything that diet, food, and lifestyle and sleep cannot really fix. So I'm so glad that you say that. And brilliant observation that I haven't seen a space either where all the 3 doctors sit on the same table. Because it's not really about which science, it's about the patient. So I'm so glad that you
Absolutely.
say that.
Yeah.
Why the name Traya?
Traya in Sanskrit means 3, Trinity. So the 3 sciences come together to help you with your
Amazing.
health.
And you said this bit about, when your husband was going through hair loss and he was using, whether it's minoxidil or he was using something else. When a person is going through hair fall or hair loss, and I think your 20s are very forgiving. Of course, the teen years and the 20s are very forgiving. You'll get away with murder on your lifestyle. But come your 30s and you realize
I
that
agree.
this is something I need to work on. And by the time it's already very late because the lifestyle pattern has sort of set in. The pull, the drop in esteem, the not wanting to look into the mirror, that fear of covering it all up, or somebody pointing that deficit out can be very, very shattering to someone.
Absolutely.
Tell me some of the cases that you've worked with or people have come to you and how has their experience been?
Oh, so many. I have women who come to me after they have finished their treatment with Traya that, hey, I have started attending family functions. I had completely stopped attending family functions. One of them told me that whenever she would start getting ready to go out on a party, she would have a breakdown and she would start crying because she would have the best dress and the best accessories and the best jewelry. But when she would put her makeup on and look in the mirror, with hair not being good, she would feel all of it is a waste. I know a lady, Kavita, who called me recently, and she's one of the early customers here at Traya, so I know her personally. That she had a fracture and she was bedridden for 10 days. So I felt really bad and I said, I'm so sorry you have a fracture. You had to go through all this. She's like, oh, Saloni, now I have a full set of hair. How does it matter? All of this life will keep throwing these problems at me. She sounded so confident and strong, almost a warrior, that no matter what life now throws at her, she can handle it because she has solved and she had severe hair loss. Like, I get happy to show her pictures because she would be happy to, she's someone, and that's why I took her name as well. She had a visible scalp and she's what, 35, 38. And all of it is now covered, and she has a good set of hair. So I think it's so much beyond hair. I know customers who come to me and say that, hey, I lost 5-6 kgs while on this journey. And I said, hey, we are not working on weight loss. How is this happening? You know what? I've started working out. I'm focusing on my diet. And all of this is happening because finally I saw baby hair coming in and I felt I need to take care of myself. So I have moved from a bad, negative space in life where everything is drowning to a good space in life where I have new hair coming in, good diet, good workout, and hence I'm now even losing weight.
Right.
So I think people just move to a positive space overall in life when it comes back.
Tell me, what is Traya all about? So, like, but do they come on? I've seen your website, and I must say it's extremely impressive. What is the journey like? Like, they come onto the platform, and then what happens?
Sure. So you can either come on the website or download the Traya app. The first step and the most important step in this process is to fill the hair test. Hair test is, think of hair test as going and meeting a dermatologist or a Ayurveda doctor and a dietitian. We'll ask all the questions we need to understand your body and your hair. What hair texture do you have? Is it just hair breakage, hair fall? What are the problems? How energetic do you feel when you get up in the morning? What do you have constipation? What is your gut health, etc., etc. We'll understand everything, even medical conditions like PCOS, etc. If you've been diagnosed, we take those in, and then we try to understand what type of hair fall do you have. And medically, there are types of hair fall. It's
Right.
not just one. And what are the root causes causing or accelerating that hair fall condition? What I mean by that is, let's say if I have a genetic hair fall, my mom or dad had it and I have it. The speed with which that genetic hair fall leads or causes hair fall in my body depends on a lot of other conditions, my stress, my gut health, my nutrition. So it's not just the type of hair fall. Like, if you have genetic diabetes, you just don't say, "Arey, to genetic hai, I can't do anything about it." You go and meet a doctor and you take your tablets every day to manage that blood pressure or diabetes, right? Similarly, genetic hair fall can also very well be managed. You can pause where it is, you can reverse it, you can, manage your life with it. So we understand the root causes. Once you have that, we build a customized plan. Now, hair fall is a problem is extremely complex. There's no one reason for hair fall. There's always multiple things going on in your body. There could be a combination of stress, hormones, gut, nutrition. So there's no one magic product, not even at Traya, where I can say, number one, Mansi, this is the magic oil. Every woman needs to use this. If everybody uses this, their hair fall is going to solve. That's exactly the problem I have with this hair industry, right? It needs customization, which means Traya cannot give you a product without that hair test. Number two, there's no one product that can magically solve, sirf tel laga lo, ya sirf ek nutrition gummies kha lo. It's not going to happen. It is a holistic way of fixing this problem that works the best. And hence, we don't sell individual products at all. We only sell a kit, which is a customized plan, which has something from Ayurveda, something that a dermat would give you, even a diet plan. So finally, now there is a hair company that gives you a diet plan as part of the solution. And this diet plan is not, hey, Mansi, eat healthy, don't eat fried, leave sugar. No. This is a very specific plan, which means if a female who has PCOS is suffering through hair fall, gets a very, very specific diet regime that will help her manage her PCOS, because that's when her hair fall will get managed.
Right.
So you buy this plan. Once you buy the plan, this plan actually goes to a dermatologist. Every customer goes to a dermatologist. The dermatologist will look at your test, your photographs. By the way, in the hair test, we also make you click pictures of your head, so we understand the density of hair on your head. The doctor looks at all of that. If the doctor needs more information, you will get a call. If the doctor is satisfied with how the algorithm has built your plan, they will put in the exact dosage, the prescription, and press submit. The case will go to a packaging person, will build the kit, and it will be shipped to your house. You will be assigned a dedicated hair coach. You can call this coach any number of times you want during this journey. So, so one major thing that we really wanted to bring on table with Traya is there are multiple product companies selling you products. Even
Yeah.
if you go to a salon, you get like this, fancy shampoo, conditioner, serum set, mask, all of it. Nobody calls you and asks, did it help?
Yeah.
Did it actually manage your hair fall, or
Yeah.
is it still happening? And that's what we wanted to change here. So we will give you a dedicated coach. You call any number of times. The coach will tell you how to use, take feedback, plan your next month. Because remember, hair fall is a longer journey.
Right.
It is a 3 to 4 months commitment to actually see your hair visibly change. So we will work together. And actually, a lot of work starts after the first purchase is made.
Right.
There is a team of doctors, dermatologists, Ayurveda doctors, nutritionists, the coaches. So Traya today is a 800 people team.
800. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
600 of them are just doctors and coaches,
Amazing.
right? So it's very difficult to explain. It's not a product company. It's not.
So tell me, do I, as part of the kit, do get oral medication as well?
Absolutely. And I would not call it medication. I would call it supplements.
Right.
We give herbs that are oral because in Ayurveda, it's very, very important to have herbs orally. The Ayurveda we see in the hair industry is Brahmin oil and, Bhringraj and Amla
Yeah.
in a shampoo. That's not what our scriptures say. Our scriptures say that you need to eat. Actually, you need to eat amla rather than apply amla.
Yeah.
Eating amla is way more important because that's going to solve for a nutrition issue in the
Yeah.
body. So a lot of herbs are oral. The only supplement that's not Ayurvedic in the entire treatment is a multivitamin, and it's specifically given to people who have symptoms of nutritional deficiencies. And it's a multivitamin rather than a biotin supplement because your hair needs more than 19 micronutrients. So selenium, magnesium, B12, C, lots of them. So we've created a really holistic multivitamin. Even something like iron, right? Anemia is a very big root cause
Yeah.
of hair fall.
Yeah.
We use Ayurveda to treat it. So we, instead of giving an iron supplement, we use herbs to fulfill your iron deficiency.
Right. Now here's the thing. Okay. And I mean, I'm not even reading the questions ever since we started this conversation because this is so interesting. I'm very scared to take anything orally
Yeah, I can imagine.
because, and I'm sure that's the case with a lot of women, because I just feel like how much research has gone into it.
Yeah.
Or, what is this company all about? Or can I trust something external going into my body? So I'm sure that you must be getting a lot of those questions. How would you address that?
So one,
Because today really everybody is subscribing supplements, like, okay, these are the things I eat in a day, and we're even buying supplements without consulting a physician.
yeah.
We're just assuming that, Saloni said, her hair is like this because, and assume you're not the co-founder of Traya.
I understand your point.
And, we see people taking in like, this is what I eat in a day. And we see somebody's short of the, supplements and almonds and nuts that they're eating. And we assume, acha, main bhi ye le leti hu. And then I know in the comment box, it'll be like, okay, which supplements are these? Which brand would you recommend? So break that down. How do you decide the supplements that you need, and how can one trust the box that comes in?
Yeah. So first, the biggest complication with supplement is that you think that the most authoritative, honest, or legitimate person to go to is your physician or the doctor. But medical doctors are actually not trained in supplementation. They're not trained in preventive medicine. They're trained on how to solve a disease that you have, not how to prevent that disease. So actually the right person to go to is probably a nutritionist. At Traya, luckily, we have Ayurveda doctors, nutritionists, and dermatologists, all three of them. So this science, you have the right authority or the right people to approve whether this is the right thing for you or not, number one. Number two, I think Ayurveda solves a large part of this problem. So if I pick, let's say, a gut supplement that we have, it's called Gut Shuddhi, and I go and tell you what are the ingredients in it, every single ingredient, most 99% of them are in your kitchen. So there's ajwain, long, elaichi, long pepper, black pepper, all of them in a certain concentration and compound given to you. When you go for an allopathy supplement, most of the times there are extracts that are used, which means there is a chemical process of, let's say even if you're eating a curcumin supplement, it's not haldi, it's curcumin, which means there is a chemical process of extracting curcumin into it. But in Traya, what we've done is we've not done any process. Imagine herbs are taken, dried, powdered, and made into tablets because it's very difficult to eat spoonful of powders. And when we started, we gave powders to people. We saw that they just couldn't, they didn't like the taste. It was difficult to have. We said, kada banao and have it. Not people were not doing it, so we made tablets. So sometimes at Traya, let's say Gut Shuddhi is just one, but hair ras, in a day you have to eat 4 tablets. And one question that I hear is, why do I eat 4 tablets? It's because there is no chemical process. They are herbs, and you need like a spoonful of herbs, which is equal to 4 tablets. If there was a small pill instead of 4 tablets, and I would say this has, all the amla that you need, all the bhringraj, there's a chemical process done. But if I give you 4, you will taste amla when you'll put a Traya hair ras in your mouth. You will know that there's like no preservatives, no coating. It's breaking in your mouth. Right? And there are problems of it, right? Like people ask why I should eat so many tablets. But the moment you explain that, hey, there's no coating, that's why the tablet is breaking in your bottle. We get complaints, why is your tablet breaking? That you want very squish, shiny tablets, you need a preservative to do that. We've purposefully not put in. So the moment you start communicating to your customer, what is it that we are putting, what was the process used, and why this is important, people understand. So I am a firm believer of awareness and education over taking calls for your customer that, let's use extracts or put a shiny coating, people are not going to like it. I think I understand that people want lesser chemicals in life.
Yeah.
And if brands start understanding that while explaining, it to people, it can work.
So, I read this brilliant article the other day on A beauty, which they're calling the Ayurveda beauty. And they're saying there has never been a better time to sort of talk about the power of Ayurveda and how the beauty industry is going to be experiencing it, and it's going to be the best offering from India. And how there are so many brands who are actually going to be doing this. So I'm so happy that we're having this conversation where, because as someone who's worked in the beauty industry very early on in her career, I know that topical applications can only do so much. Like I know that, very early on I was working in skincare, and there was this whole thing of, working on a whitening face wash. And whitening as a proposition cannot be delivered in a cleanse mode. This was way back 20 years. I'm sure research and a whole lot of it is developed after. But tell me when, and you mentioned this about claims of, I see hoardings and billboards of 99.9% claim. और मुझे कभी लगता है कि मतलब इनका base size क्या है? Are they even thinking of ये लड़की नॉर्थ इंडिया में रह रही है, साउथ इंडिया में रह रही है, बॉम्बे में रह रही है या कैलकाटा में रह रही है, राइट? बिकॉज एग्जाम्पल, इफ यूर अ वेजिटेरियन वर्सेस समवन लाइक इन कैलकाटा हु मस्ट बी ईटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ फिश, your hair must be experiencing a whole different sort of composition, and your skin will be very different, and your conditions would be different, and your diet would be different. And what is the base size of on a sample population of 1.4 billion people, say 50% women, because, we're talking about women and men, but largely women. How are you even experiencing or assuming this sort of claim when you're doing it on like a very, very small sample size? And what were the constant factors considered when you're doing that research? Do topical products work on hair loss?
None. Zero. Um, the most efficacious topical serum that can work on hair loss, and that there comes the star mark, right, to this strongly opinionated no, is probably a minoxidil or some actives like redensyl, capexyl, bicapel to some extent. These are some pharma grade actives used in a serum. Shampoos, oils, no. And even for these serums alone cannot do the magic. If I have anemia, low hemoglobin, and that's causing my hair fall, no matter what I put on my head for the rest of my life, it's not going to solve my hemoglobin. So I need to solve my iron levels along with using a redensyl on my head, right? So it cannot be a single product. Absolutely loved what you mentioned about hoardings, right? There's so many scams there, and I'm going to use the word scams because what you're saying that, whether somebody's Kolkata or North India is a very far-fetched thing. Leave that aside. When a shampoo brand or an oil brand says, 99% reduction hair fall, the test is done on something called combing test. So that I'll explain what it is. What they do is they take their shampoo and they take a female. On the other side, they take a non-conditioning shampoo, which means a shampoo that has no conditioning value. It tangles your hair, and it's called non-conditioning agent, which is basically world's worst shampoo. So they make one girl wash hair with their shampoo, which softens, detangles, does all of that to your hair, and the other girl with the ganda shampoo. And then both of them take a comb, put on a white sheet of paper, and they comb their hair. So now when a detangled hair you comb, the chances of hair breaking from between are less. So there's less pieces of hair strands on it. And the shampoo that has really tangled your hair, when you do this, it breaks your hair. And that's how they say 99% hair fall reduction. So wherever you see a claim, there's a star mark. If you turn around and look at some legit companies put star, some don't even care to put it. But if you'll turn around and see, it will say hair fall due to hair breakage. Hair fall means hair breakage, which means they are nowhere doing anything to hair fall. Hair fall and hair breakage are two very different things.
Interesting.
So the entire shampoo industry runs on hair breakage being called as hair fall because there's no law against it.
Right.
Then comes the second problem, that some brands that are doing, a better sort of clinical test or study, which is not a combing test, is done on consumers, which means they will give, and like you said, they'll probably give their product to 30 women, 30. And they will say, what did you feel after you used it? And they, if 29 of them say, I think my hair fall has gone down, which is perception, right? They would call, okay, this is study. So the second layer of brands that do studies are around consumer feedback studies. The biggest problem with the study is one, sample size, done only on 30 people. Second, it's consumer perception, which means there is no, and perception can vary according to your observation, your mood. Even if I'll fill a placebo in a bottle and give you and say, hey, this is magic potion, you use it for next 10 days. And that's why when pharma companies do studies, there is a placebo, right? Which means the ideal study should have 30 women on a shampoo and 30 women on something else. And then you do a comparison. Because even with water in a bottle, people will see improvement in hair fall. Right, so there's no benchmarking. They are called base studies, which means there is no benchmark. They are not compared to anyone. So that's the second problem. The third problem is, this is something very interesting I saw recently. Can't name the brand, but claims to be one of the most doctor prescribed oil hair loss brand. And there was a claim and there was a star mark. So I went and tried to read the research. The research very nicely put up. This study is done only for hair fall conditions, not based on any internal health issues. And I was like, is there a hair fall condition which is not based on internal health issues?
Yeah.
That's how, there's so many loopholes and because of which anybody and everybody puts up a claim.
Right. Interesting that you say that, because there is, I think COVID made so many people, doctors and advisors, where everybody will say, Asha, you're having hair fall. Why don't you mix this oil with rosemary oil and apply? I've seen so much growth on it. And then there will be these women who will be like showing oils that they mix, and then they'll have DHT or DHT
DHT,
blockers,
yeah.
etc. And then it's become like a huge business, and then you'll see so many people buying it, and then you'll see orders on reels, and then they'll show you boxes and boxes of shipping, and you'll be like, oh, this is how it works. Does it work?
I think you go back to that same girl's Instagram page every week, and there will be a new brand or a new product or a new home remedy that she would be putting in, showing that same long hair that she has,
Yeah.
claiming to solve her hair fall. So it doesn't. Yeah, it's such a sad space to be in. I think, first of all, even if it worked for her, there is very little chance that it will work for you. Because everybody is different, everybody's hair fall condition is different. So just because it has worked for your friend or for someone, but my sort of litmus test, to know red flags from green flags on social media is look at not just that content piece, but go to the homepage and look at other content pieces, and you'll see most of them every week will put, 1 week it's rosemary. 2 months ago, it was onion that was doing the magic, right? So you do that.
Yeah.
Number 2, anything that's trending and everybody is talking about, and rosemary is a great example, is a red flag because it's trending, and hence every brand is putting a rosemary product out with a claim there.
Yeah.
If it's trending, just stay away from it.
I love that. I love that. It's trending, just stay away from it. Yeah, like I almost thought that the hair industry was responsible for the rise in onion prices. Like everybody was only putting onion juice in their hair during COVID. I think that is all that people were doing.
You know where it came from, where
No.
onion came from? There was a research done which showed that if you use crude onion juice, which means you mix onion and you create a juice, on cases of alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is a specific type of hair loss where you get circular things. It could happen in your hand. Men get it on their chest hair, beard, anywhere. It's an autoimmune type of hair loss condition, and when you put onion juice on it, the sulfur in the onion becomes an irritant on that part of the skin, and hence your autoimmune fight goes down, and there was hair regrowth. Now, the research clearly says this only happened with crude onion juice and not onion extracts. Now that onion went to shampoos, oils, every product. If you look at the label, the extract is less than 1%. The label is in the descending order of the proportion of material in the bottle. So you'll see second last, third last पे onion लिखा होगा, छोटा सा 1% से कम होगा, extract होगा. और सबसे बड़ी बात, लोगों को alopecia areata है ही नहीं. It's a very rare hair loss condition.
Right.
Most women who have hair fall are applying onion thinking that it is going to. So that's how, a research becomes a trend, and trend leads to every brand bringing a product, and I say stay away from the trend.
Love that. Also, we spoke on claims, we've spoken on products, we've spoken on all of that. Very important. Explain to me the male and the female balding patterns, because I think there is such little that is spoken on understanding the patterns. We've just jumped to the solutions without understanding what's the problem I have.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked it. So we at Traya, to simplify explaining this, have defined something called the female hair scale. So think of an x-axis. Okay. When you have mild hair fall, which means you are losing 100 to 150 strands of hair, it's absolutely normal.
A day.
A day. Now you would be like, what's 150? Do you want me to count? How does this work? The most simple way to look at this is you've been losing hair for last 5-10 years. If it's the same, you're fine. If suddenly you see that, oh, this is not what it was a month ago and this is something more, something has changed in your hair fall volume, then there's a hair fall problem. So everyone has a normal hair fall. इतना तो गिरता ही है जब मैं बाल धोती हूँ, only on hair wash days. So you know that. You look at the drain. You've been looking at it for years, right? So that's normal. Very important to do nothing about it.
Not stress, to increase the stress that causes hair loss looking at that. That's important.
Absolutely. Stop buying hair fall shampoos, hair fall conditioners. Instead, focus on hair repair or something else. Don't waste money on hair fall shampoos, hair fall oils, serums, nothing. No home remedies, nothing. This is normal. This is how human body functions. It's great that these hair are falling. New ones will come. Okay, so that's one. Second, now if this hair fall goes a lot, which means, and when I say a lot, it's a lot. You know it. It's like, suddenly, whenever I move my hair, my auntie's like, झाड़ू में आपके ही बाल निकल रहे हैं, drain पूरा बालों से भरा हुआ है. This is not normal. At this scale, I'm going to like really like, go bald. This is how much my hair fall. It's a type of hair fall called telogen effluvium. In simple words, let's call it heavy hair fall. Most times, this is because 6 months ago, something in your body has happened, which is leading for your hair to go in this, extreme stage. Postpartum, which is, I had baby 6 months ago, so I have a postpartum hair fall. I had COVID, dengue, typhoid. I went through a medical condition. I was admitted at the hospital. I did some crazy intermittent dieting. I lost 20 kgs. Your body is replying after 6 months of all the nutrition deficiencies that you have caused due to it. So this entire bucket is telogen effluvium, heavy hair fall. Okay. Now the third part of the scale is where you don't have hair fall, but you have had hair fall which is not extremely heavy, not mild, somewhere in between for a long period of time. Last 5 to 6 years. So telogen effluvium would be last one. If you ask the person, female, कब से हो रहा है, she would be like last 1 महीने से, 2 महीने से. But the female pattern baldness will be years. The answer will be in years. Since I got married, I remember I had a good set of hair when I was getting married. Look at my pictures. Last 7 years, my hair has just been deteriorating. The way to identify if you have female pattern hair loss is you do a center partition. So you do like something like this and you look in the mirror. Now, how wide is your partition really tells you if there is female pattern hair loss. So the first sign of female pattern hair loss is hair thinning here, this part. So it either happens here or here in the widening area. And then thinning leads to some amount of hair not coming back. Hair as a cycle. So which means density of hair goes down, which leads to widening. And there's medium widening, advanced widening based on the scale. So there's a whole scale, right? And the treatment is completely different.
Right.
Based on where you are in the scale. I hope that answers your...
Right, absolutely. And the other bit of it is to say that it comes back. It is addressable and reversible.
It is addressable, it is reversible, and it comes back, definitely.
Yeah, that is important. The other bit you mentioned on water, which I thought was very interesting because I know that especially, in so many conversations that I've had, people will be like, oh, we don't get this water and we get this water and we've put a shower softener and this and that and it doesn't work and I've attached this to the shower. Do we really need that? Does it impact?
You don't need it. We've treated more than 10 lakh people here at Traya without changing their waters and given them hair regrowth. When you move to a new city and the water changes, you see some kind of hair fall which is very temporary. It's almost like, hey, monsoon season, you see a little bit of hair fall, right? Your body needs to adjust to that new water. If it's happening for a longer period of time and not adjusting, it's not water. It's probably the stress of moving into a new city, setting up your house. Maybe you're eating outside more than you should. Maybe you're not. You've stopped working out since you moved to the new city. It's the new job that's stressing you out, right? So there are things that's not water, that is there in that shifting to a new city process. Now, water does impact the texture of your hair. Definitely does. So if you feel your hair is rough, brittle, hair breakage, split ends, a water softener can help you. But when it comes to the sheer volume of hair or number of hair strands on your head, water has no role to play. Sometimes extreme hard water for a very long period leads to scalp buildup, okay, and can lead to a dandruff like scalp condition. If that happens, hair fall can happen. The only external thing that actually leads to hair fall is an unhealthy scalp. And that's my problem with hair industry, that while you are solving external things, you're not focusing on scalp. At least scalp तो ठीक कर देते अगर तुम्हें बाहर से कुछ देना ही था तो, you know. So dandruff, flakes, itchiness, build up, scalp conditions like those can accelerate any hair fall condition that you have.
Right.
So sometimes we do look at water when there is a very, where there's a scalp build-up condition. That's all.
Got it. Tell me, when you say solve for the external, do you have that at Traya?
Every Traya kit has a oil. Ayurveda loves oil, and we use oil. We customize the oil for our people. So oil is based on your scalp condition. So we use oil to solve for problems like dandruff, flakiness, dryness, oiliness. We also use oil for anxiety-related, stress-related issues. So we use essential oils like bergamot, etc., that can really calm you down. So we have a oil that helps you sleep well. All right. So we use oil, but there's that much that oil can do. Can an oil magically regrow your hair? No. And we don't put that claim on our oil. I mean, that's all that oil does. For the longest time, in fact, the first 2 years of Traya, we did not have a shampoo at all. So we were a hair company that solves hair fall without
any
having shampoo.
Amazing.
And what we heard from people was, "Arey, how is that possible? Shampoo nahi hai meri kit mein, to main kya karun? I'm not going to buy Traya because there's no shampoo." So now we have shampoo, conditioner, detangle serums, all of that, to get, help people with their hair care needs with a very clear messaging that this is not going to solve for your hair fall. This is because you need it. You need to still clean your hair and still have a good hair day and, have smoother hair. We will take care of those things in the most, chemical-free fashion. But these products are not for your hair fall. The others are.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. Tell me, when you say seasons, and you mentioned monsoon, tell me, how does your hair behave for every season? Because you'll see typically post-winter, you'll see in the spring months, you'll see the hair go, dry, brittle, break. Monsoon, you'll see that. So tell me, how do you explain hair fall by season?
So I think monsoon and winter, post-winter are two, like you pointed out, are the two places. Really depends on the type of scalp the person has. Monsoon is also a time where, you get wet, you wear helmets, you tend to get fungi-related dandruffs. Very important to use an antifungal dandruff shampoo during that time, because if you keep your scalp clean, hair fall will be under control. Winter's dryness-related flakiness and dandruff comes in.
Yeah.
So you use a shampoo accordingly. You don't over shampoo. You sort of manage your oiling and shampooing frequency in a way that you maintain your scalp problems. Overall, I would say if you keep a clean scalp, especially during these seasons, you would be, taking care of your hair fall.
Super. You also mentioned very interestingly about the most important season, especially in a woman's life, which is postpartum, where your body doesn't feel like it's yours, where your hair doesn't feel like it's yours, and just seeing, like you said, seeing it while someone's sweeping the floors, cleaning the drains. How does Traya help in postpartum hair loss?
Sure.
And what is the journey actually? Let's take the problem, like what is the body going through, what does it need, and how does Traya help?
Sure. Perfect. So postpartum hair fall is telogen effluvium type of hair fall, which is 6 months ago. So generally postpartum happens 4 to 6 months after delivery. Your body has gone through a lot to manufacture, produce, and deliver a baby. And your body somehow has all the hormones it needs to do something so superwoman, right? But the moment you deliver the baby, all of that shatters down. So all the amazing hormones that you had during pregnancy that made you be this superwoman are taken away from you once the delivery happens. What period of time which hormone goes is a journey, right? The moment you stop breastfeeding, even the last bit of good hormones are taken away. So pura zero ho jata hai. So 0 to 1 year of your baby is where these hormones are leaving your body. Now, when these hormones are leaving your body, it affects you in every way, from mentally to physically, to your strength, to your energy levels, to how you feel, to your skin, to your hair, everything. And this roller coaster of rather hormones is what actually causes hair fall. Think of it this way, right? Your body is going through so much that your hair goes on a strike. मुझे नहीं रहना ये सर पे, ये बॉडी में बहुत कुछ न्यूट्रिशन बचा नहीं है, सब डिप्लीट हो गया है, कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं मिल रहा है, बहुत रोलर कोस्टर चल रहा है हार्मोन का, इट्स टू डिफिकल्ट टू स्टे हियर. सो दे गो ऑन अ स्ट्राइक and majority of hair enter a state of hair called telogen. Telogen is a state where your hair breaks from its roots. So they break from the root, and that's why it's called telogen effluvium. And they break from the root because they don't want to stay on this body. This body has gone through so much. Now, if you understand why it's happening, it's very easy to fix it. Okay? How can you fix it? If you make your body a better place to live, which means you are giving the nourishment your body needs in this new phase. And the nourishment needs of your body all your life have been very different. The nourishment needs now are very different. Right? So all we do here at Traya is put together a herb mix that a new mom can take in to fill the nourishment needs of her new body. It has herbs that help you heal, that help you, it's almost like you go through a surgery and you come out and you're recovering from a surgery. Your nourishment needs are very different. You need to eat healthier. And that goes for postpartum as well. I would request moms to be the healthiest version of themselves during this phase. And weight aside, it's not about weight loss. Everything that you put in your mouth, ask yourself, what is the nutrition I'm giving to my body? Because your body needs a lot of nutrition, right? So eat your supplements. Eat. And you know what women do? And, I'm saying this because I have gone through 2 cycles myself. I have 2 babies. Pregnancy के time पे अच्छे से supplement लेंगे. Agree. I need to drink my water. I have to take care of my baby. Where is my healthy food? The moment delivery has happened, now how does it matter? It's all about the baby. Yeah. What does the family do? It's all about the baby. Everybody's getting gifts for the baby. Everybody's, baby ko kya ho gaya? Baby ko hi ho gaya. Mama should not eat something because baby ko gas ho raha hai. Yeah. That's absolutely a big myth, right? Yeah. All the focus should be on the new mom. Mama kya kha rahi hai? Mummy ko healthy khana mil raha hai. And sugar cravings ho rahi thi, theek hai, khatam, craving time over, now no more sugar. Now you need to really optimize on nutrition over calories, the ratio. Yeah. Right? So if you really eat well, eat your supplements properly, just because you are, sleep deprived, it's very difficult. Yeah. While I'm saying all of this, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I guess she's only 5 months postpartum. For her to look this good, 5 months postpartum is amazing. I can now vouch that you're taking care of yourself as well.
Yeah, and every day is a struggle because when you're sleep deprived, you're like, I need my carbs. But then you have to tell yourself, it's my sleep deprivation that's asking for carbs. So, let's not fall in that trap. But if you do that, a lot of women can sail through things like postpartum depression, hair fall, and all that we go through. The other thing is, how well did you take care of yourself during pregnancy? Right? Did you bring in that extra nutrition through supplements and food and workout? Right? A mom, there's a very interesting research paper that people can check. Moms who work out and moms who don't work out have a very different recovery postpartum. And there's the signs of issues like depression, hair fall are lesser in moms that have had a very healthy workout pregnancy. Right. Right. So there's, it's very, very manageable. My first sort of message to every postpartum mom is this hair fall is 100% recoverable, which means you don't need to stress about it. Whatever you have lost, through a treatment, it's possible to get back.
Let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, which is sulfate-free shampoos. Again, is it self-care or does it work?
For what? When you say work? Hair fall?
Yeah.
No. Like I said, no shampoo, whether sulfate free or with sulfate.
But is it better for your hair?
Can a shampoo cause hair fall? Not necessary. Hair fall is internal. The less chemicals in your shampoo, the better it is, especially if you want to protect the texture of your hair.
Amazing. Again, another favorite with everybody is using the derma roller and having a night care, or should I say night hair fall routine. Does that exist, and what's that ideal night hair routine for you?
Well, in the Traya world, there exists a night hair fall routine. For me, it is putting a serum that I mean, that's appropriate for me. It's recap serum. But we have multiple serums here at Traya, and based on the type of hair fall, we provide the most useful serum. So serum, a hair serum, which is a hair growth active. I eat hair rus, which is a herb mix. Think of it as chamanprash for hair. It helps you not just prevent hair fall, but also take care of your hair quality, like the quality of each strand. There's more repair. So that's number 2. And the third is Nasya Ghrit. Nasya Ghrit is a nasal drop with pure ghee and yashti madhu. It's one of the most powerful treatments for managing stress and hair fall, because in Ayurveda, your nasya, your nasal route, is the best pathway to any problem that's happening in this area. So if you'll go to an Ayurveda doctor for a condition like sinus or headaches or migraines, hair loss, sleep issues, they will actually give you nasal ghee drops.
Right.
And that's what we do here at Traya as well, especially for people who complain of not sleeping properly. So it puts me to good sleep. My stress levels are reduced. Hair rus is a Ayurvedic multivitamin sort of for hair. It has herbs like ashwagandha, etc. to manage stress, increase blood circulation to hair follicles, and a serum. Twice a week, I oil my hair before I shampoo, the night before I shampoo.
Super. And tell me on the derma rollers, does it actually work?
So, there are researches that say derma roller works. There are that says it doesn't. As a brand, we've done a lot of research ourselves and taken a stand to not put derma roller in our kit. The reason is more than the advantage it brings, there are disadvantages. It can sometimes lead to small pricks in the skin with bleeding happening. That can lead to infections and a scalp condition that will cause more hair loss. For women, it always entangles the hair, which leads to more breakage. A micro needling process works better when an expert is doing it to you than doing it yourself at home. And well, without it, we've been able to really see great hair growth results with our treatment. So at Traya, we've taken a stand to not recommend. There are customers who come and say, I want to use it and it works for me. Fair, great. We're not against it. But I mean, it's a bit of gray area to how efficacious.
There's a lot of research and a lot of emphasis today on hair growth through PRP. Does it work?
First, let's understand PRP, Mansi. So, first thing the doctor would do is take some blood from your body and then they would centrifuge it, which is rotate it at a very high speed. Now, when that happens, your blood and the plasma get separated. So there's a white layer of plasma that comes on the top. This is from your own blood. Now, this plasma holds regenerative capacity, which means wherever you put it, let's say I go and put it on my face, that's what the vampire facial is, right? So there's PRP for skin because your skin becomes younger and newer because new skin cells grow when you put this plasma on your face. Similarly, when you put this plasma on your hair follicles get that growth booster, that regenerative power to grow again. And that's what is PRP. They take that plasma in an injection and then they inject it on your scalp so that it reaches your hair follicles. A PRP session costs almost something like 30,000. You have to do multiple such sessions. The results can last up to 6 months, but then your hair fall will be back.
Right.
Right? So you have to keep doing it, and that's the biggest disadvantage of something like this. It works to some extent. For some people, it might not. So it's not 100%. But there are certain disadvantages of PRP that I really want people to understand. PRP is temporary, which means, and it's very expensive, right? So you pay about 30,000 for one session. You do 4 to 5 sessions, and you finally see that your hair is coming back. If you stop it, it'll all go back. Right? Because again, you have not fixed the root cause of your hair problem. Imagine that I have anemia and my low hemoglobin is causing my hair to fall. And it's fallen for last 3 years. Now I do a PRP session for 5 to 6 sessions. Temporary, the hair growth boosters is what my follicles have received. So there will be hair regrowth. But it will eventually all fall down if I stop the PRP session. So when you go for a PRP, ask yourself, are you committing all your life to keep taking PRP sessions every few months or alternate months of 30,000 rupees to keep this hair? Because it's that temporary, right? So I would put it this way, right? If you have all the money in the world and you can afford it, take the right treatment. So customers at Traya sometimes come up and say, hey, we want to take PRP. We said, sure, go ahead. It's going to be an added layer to this treatment. Don't just rely on a PRP because it's not a fix.
Right. Views on red light masks for hair. Self care या actually में काम करता है?
Hair fall is internal. We've understood that. Let's stay true to the science.
Okay, amazing. Now, women's body goes through so many different phases, right? So we spoke of postpartum. Now, speaking of perimenopause and menopause, what are the changes that happen every decade in the hair of the woman?
I think hair are deeply related to our hormones.
Yeah.
And if we, as women, just understand this one simple thing on how to balance our hormones, we will have great skin and hair.
Right.
Of course, some of the imbalance, I would rather say we're thrown off balance through these phases in life. Like I'm going through postpartum currently, there's perimenopause, some women have PCOS. But there are ways to bring back that balance. And that is what we do with the specific herb mix that we give here at Traya. We try to bring, so the range of products are called Santulan range. And it is born out of this very insight that you brought up on how do we bring balance in a body where there's imbalance of hormones. So we have Mom Santulan for postpartum hair fall, which is breastfeeding safe. We have PCOS Santulan for people with PCOS triggered hair fall. Her Santulan for women who are above a certain age and could be going through the perimenopause stage. These are just herbs that bring your hormones overall in balance. I'll deep dive into one specific condition which is there across all women, whether you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, doesn't matter, which is stress, right? And I hear women now understand that stress causes hair fall, but I often get asked, तो क्या ही कर सकते हैं? Stress तो रहने ही वाला है, right? Let me explain the chemically in your body what happens when you go through stress, right? Imagine if you have high stress, your body produces something called cortisol. This cortisol has the ability to directly go and disturb your hair cycle. Your hair moves through a cycle. Anything that disturbs this cycle causes hair fall, causes you to lose your hair over a period of time. So cortisol directly goes and disturbs your hair cycle, which means it tells your hair, jaldi gir jao, is sar pe mat raho, go into telogen phase, some of these things. Your cortisol also goes to your gut and says, stop absorbing the good nutrients, right? I want absorption to malfunction. I don't want absorption to happen, which means you're eating your supplements, you're eating your healthy soups and salads and all of that. It's not reaching your body because your gut is messed up. So stress is one thing that at a multi-level impacts your hair. Now, how can you solve it? the most powerful way of managing stress is workout, right? If there are multiple positive hormones in your body, right, endorphins, dopamine, anyone can read up, and there are multiple ways to get it. As human beings, we need to know how to get these positive hormones. So let's say if I have extreme stress today and I got up this morning and I was like, to simplify, imagine this is the bowl of cortisol in my body. Okay. But Mansi, I work out every day. So I got up this morning and I went to the gym. The moment I entered my gym and I worked out, my body produced the positive hormone, this bowl. Inside my body, the two got cancelled. Right? The positive hormone came and said, I have equal amount of positive against the negative cortisol. It's cancelled. Now the stress is there. The cortisol got produced, but there is no cortisol anymore in my body, and it's just 10 a.m. It's gone because I worked out. Now, the moment I'll reach my office, I know I need to drink X amount of water. I know how much I need to finish up my things. I need to stick to my routine. What are the things in my life that gives me the positive hormones? So that's one. Number two, at Traya, we use herbs that can actually help control, or rather, it puts a protection layer from stress attacking your cells. We use herbs like ashwagandha, arjuna. These are herbs that are actually used in Ayurveda for anti-anxiety, for calming you down. We have a calm oil shot through oils. So there's natural fragrances in those oils that calms you down.
Which are not hormone disruptors.
Which are not hormone disruptors, not at all. We use the Nasya Grit that puts you to sleep. Sleep is another very important piece to help you balance your hormones. If you're sleeping on time and getting up on time, not looking at your screens while you sleep, most likely you are going through a menopause or a PCOS or a postpartum where your hormones are comparatively in balance. So, postpartum sleep gets difficult, but that's one of the reasons why our hormones are further off balance, right? So sleep, diet, but if I have to pick the top two, workout, sleep, and certain herbs can help you clearly manage stress-triggered hair fall and reverse it.
As we conclude this, I want to ask you, you're a new mom. You also have the stress of managing Traya and 2 kids. How are you doing it, or how are you managing it, and how are you prioritizing doing all of this?
Mansi, 2 things. One, I come home no matter what by 6:30. 6:30 to 8:30 are 2 hours. My husband and I we keep our phones at the doorstep. There's a table where we keep our shoes. So uske upar we keep our phone. 8:30, after both the boys have slept, we go and pick our phones. So it's a 2-hour no phone engagement with them where we eat together, we play together, we move them to their night dresses, put them to sleep. All of that happens in those 2 hours. Number 2, I think something that all women need to learn, and I try to practice every day, is guilt management. So if I'm not at home, like my 5-month-old for the first time had his dal pani and I was not at home. My nanny did it and she sent a video of, and I missed it because I had to be somewhere. So it's very, very important to sort of be okay with these things because otherwise you feel guilty of not being at home, and then you miss a meeting or you reach late and you feel guilty of not being at work. And guilt is what kills all of us as women.
And increases the cortisol.
So being aware and every day practicing that, hey, I am not going to be guilty.
I think that is the game changer. And trust me, your kids are much younger, and my girls are now 16 and 12. And I'd love to say this to all the moms who are working, who are building, who are chasing their dreams. Your kids will love you for what you're doing, for how you're building your business, for being deeply passionate about what you're doing. And like you said, just mindfully making sure that you're making time for those moments and being fully present when you're there makes all the difference. And they're just so proud of you all the time. Like I know, yes, this weekend somebody wrote to me that, this friend of mine in Jaipur, and she's a reader of Kidsstoppress as well, and she's hurt herself, but she's got a huge opportunity. And she's like, I don't know how to tell my kids. And I said, tell your kids, make sure that they know everything that's happening in your life, because they will turn into mini magicians and they will literally pave way for everything else to flow smoothly. And I just feel like I don't want any woman to drop out thinking that my kids are missing out or any of that, because if you strike that balance, like how you beautifully said, you can really manage everything.
Yeah. And I think the kids need to, it's said that best parenting is through practice and not words. So the kids need to see me, like you said, working hard, being passionate, achieving my goals.
Yes.
And I cannot be staying at home. I mean, I think it's a better way to show it through this. So the moment you put this perspective, you realize that even when you go to work every day, it's for
Yeah.
your kids.
Yeah.
They need to see you going to
Yeah,
work every
yeah,
day.
absolutely. And they need to know that you are an equal contributing factor to your family's growth, ambition, dreams, all of it, right? And I think the minute you share that with them, there's profound respect that they have for you. And to know that everything comes at a price is equally important.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think for moms who don't work, I would say the same thing, that I know so many moms who are staying at home, are housewives, and are guilty about that. That,
Yeah.
hey, we are not able to get out. So I think as women, we just need to learn that there's no right or wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the only wrong is to be guilty. So let's
Yeah,
sort of, as a group,
100%.
fix that.
We are really lucky that in a country where childcare is not organized and not optimal, we're lucky. I'm very lucky that I live with family, so it is all very well managed. And in some cases where you don't have family, you can afford that good care for your child, and I think that makes all the difference. So whichever path you are on, it is about optimally making the most of that path and feeling and being there 100%, because that's the path you've chosen. Thank you, Saloni. This has been an incredible chat, and I must say that this is one of the few podcasts where I want to end quickly, because I want to go to the website to actually check out and take the test and then see what is my recommended kit and what is it going to look like. So I'm quite excited about that. I've never felt like that in a podcast, and I've been doing this for a while. But I'm quite curious because, one, I love Ayurveda, and second, it's about a very holistic and wholesome sort of appeal. So I think that to me is sounding very, very exciting, and I really look forward to receiving my Traya kit.
Superb.
Thank you. Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.